Hello, everybody. Welcome on in to this wonderful, delightful, just delightful, delectable Wednesday. What a great day. It is so good to have you all here today. It is so great to see you. Oh, Mothman right out of the gate. You know, I'm kind of feeling Otter Lions right now. It's that sort of a Wednesday. You know, Wednesdays, you got to spice up a little bit, right? Wednesdays are the hump day. You got to just find a way to make that day special. It's the day to treat yourself a little bit. Fridays are for resting, gearing up, right, for a big weekend. Wednesdays are definitely the day for, like, I'm just going to do something because I like it. So welcome on in, Cubus, Mothman, all of you waiting in the shadows. It is so good to have you all here. Welcome on in. I have something very disconcerting to tell you all about, which is that after the stream last night, I get pushed to be able to work on this on my laptop so I could be with the family while I work. And I found a ghost. I found the Godot ghost. And I'm a little disappointed, first off, that the mascot for Godot is not a ghost. But also, I absolutely found a Godot ghost. Because when I pushed and then pulled this same project down onto my laptop into a brand new directory, a Godost, exactly, a ghost doe. Oh, that's actually a thing, isn't it? It's a spectral deer. I pulled it in and it didn't run. And I was trying to figure it out. And it said, this is overriding a global class name. I said, no, it's not. What are you talking about? I'm not auto-loading this thing. There's no other class name associated with this. What are you talking about? It took me like an hour and a half of troubleshooting to realize it was looking in lowercase scenes, and yet GitHub had pulled down uppercase scenes. And it treated both lowercase and uppercase script file in these different file paths as real, legitimate things, even though only one of them actually existed. But somehow, on runtime, it was running 2 copies of this script. And it wasn't just that one, because I detached that one and I reattached the new one, or the correct one in the different folder architecture. And then it happened again. And with nearly every single script, with every script that had a class name, it was calling a duplicate in a different named folder structure that did not exist. It was not a real file. I could open it, I could save it, but it literally did not exist on the disk. It was a ghost. I don't know what else to say about it. That's why naming conventions for files is all lower snake case. Yeah, well, that's what I got here, right? Like, I have scenes in lowercase. For some reason, when I pulled it across in GitHub, it said uppercase. I don't know why. I tried reloading the project. I tried completely deleting the project, closing the editor down, re-cloning the repository, trying again. It'd always do the same thing. I have no clue what was happening. The only answer is Ichabod Crane was, wandering in the background there, causing all sorts of mischief. Oh, Alex, welcome on in. It's so good to see you. I'm loving all the updates you're sending me. It is super duper rad. Whew. Yeah, it's super rad seeing someone who is very talented move forward in a project and see kind of what their stages are and how they move through it and what their experience is going through it all. So I deeply appreciate that. Thank you for all that, Alex. Could be a renaming issue too if they were once uppercase. And I think that's it, Cubus. I think there's some metadata somewhere in Godot that has this listed as an uppercase scenes for some reason. I don't know why. Or rather, I don't know where it would be. but I'm pretty sure these used to be uppercased. So, I'm pretty sure that's the problem. Yeah, I just don't know how to fix it. or even where to start, like, beginning to look at what to do for that. So, there you go. Oh, how is everybody's day doing? How are we all doing today? The first thing on my list here to do today, other than tell silly stories, is change our screen shake to a symbol shake. So that's what I need to do first thing out of the gate. Might also be related to the .import folder, since that contains mappings between files and the resources created from them, and it's usually not version controlled. That is one thing, Cubis, and I don't know what to do about it. Obviously, I'm very green when it comes to all this, but when I cloned it in on my laptop, it made all those .import files, and then GitHub wanted to re-upload them, and I was like, I don't think that's a good idea, right? Like, shouldn't I just ignore those? And I don't know. It was a big whole thing. Alex, that's awesome. I can't wait to see it. That's great. Okay. Also, I had to go to the doctors today and tell them I'm not addicted to meth. So that was fun. It was my 3-month checkup for an Adderall renewal. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, tweaking out. Which, as all of you who watch the stream know, I definitely am all the time. Okay. I'm not tweaking? How come? Oh. No, oh man, I'm so bad at tangents and conversations. I was just going through with my dad, who's a published author and was a writer for his entire career, now retired. I was talking to him about this new YouTube script that we're going to be filming this week of the Pokemon as like a Big Mac. And the amount of tangents I went on to was very high. And he told me at the end, like, okay, so how long is the video going to be? I don't know, like 12 to 15 minutes? Okay, so just don't go off on any tangents, because you're not going to have enough time for all that. Your doctor doesn't watch the stream, do they? They don't, but they should. I drop little hints when I'm there, Oh, I'm glad you could take the time off of work to be here. Like, oh, yeah, I'm self-employed. I run a charitable organization to help you. In fact, when I'm done here, I'm going to go on the stream, and we're going to do some game development and talk game design analysis. You have glasses. You're a nerd, right? Okay. So, in our Click VFX, we set up this tween, right? Where does this leave us? I'm working right now. You will be turned into content. That's right. Okay, so we're not jiggling the positions at all. Like, I want to expand this out really heavily. Just to like see, is it that it's not working or that I'm not observing it work? Yeah, it's not happening. Okay. So then my next thing is, are we running it? And I'm certain that we are. I'm certain we're hitting the code. Yeah. So we are hitting it. Are we getting errors? No. No errors. Okay. Bummer. Turning those circles into a bubble sprite might go a long way. Yeah, so Cubis, one thing I put right here is like, maybe have the symbol so it doesn't fall anymore, or maybe float upwards a bit, like it's caught in an electrical storm or something, right? And then have a sort of like dissolving shader on it, I think would be really cool. And yeah, getting some real sprites on here would be a big deal. One thing I need to figure out, though, is like, what is the visual language of the game? Because right now we just have the different colors, which is not good, because if you're colorblind, like, this is all just the same thing. So we need to incorporate shapes, but I also think I want to maintain the circle shape broadly. So we'd be looking at some sort of like an icon inside of a circle, and then if we're doing that, are we going to go abstract with just like pure shapes? Like, this is a square, this is a triangle, this is a circle. Or do we go with like electrically representative symbols, like a positive and a negative, and you know, different like an ohm symbol or something? And I don't know. I don't have the answer to all of that yet. So I've been kind of putting off the sprites until I guess I have to just run out of other problems to solve, and then I have to actually come up with a visual language. I have to add statistics to the project, e.g. how many steps have the character walked, how much damage. Really? That's a interesting requirement. That seems like a really easy thing to build. Oh, and then upload it to remote storage. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense, actually. Because I was going to say, like, just counting how many steps you have seems like a 101 sort of course, not a capstone requirement. Uploading to a database, okay, yeah, sure. Have, like, some sort of a leaderboard or something. Yeah, all right. Okay. So, I think our problem is that we are changing this offset property. And I don't think that the Sprite 2D has an offset, right? Oh, it does have offset. Okay, well, there goes that theory. So, offset works. So we're saying Sprite 2D, right? Which is what we want to be hitting. Offset, vector 2, random between 0 and 1. Setting the transition to bounce. I mean, it's not, like, this isn't the problem, right? Like, it shouldn't be. It should just run sequentially. Yeah. Doesn't matter what I upload, the focus is on actually showing that you can use databases to understand them. Yeah, that makes sense, Alex. That makes sense. Abo, hello, welcome on in over on the YouTube side of things. How are you doing today, Abo? Thank you for holding down the YouTube fort, by the way. We have a pretty big milestone coming up on YouTube. We are 8 subscribers away from 1,000, which is huge. Those first 1,000 subscribers are like, you fight tooth and nail for them. And then after that, things start to flow a lot better. So it's really exciting. It's one of the big milestones for getting monetized on the platform. It's a really, really big milestone. So really excited for that. So Abo, thank you for representing on the YouTube crowd. Appreciate you. Now all we need to get is like, what? 2,500 more public watch hours, and then we'll be monetized. Okay. I actually have been considering doing a more off-the-cuff style video for YouTube. Like, we do our game design analyses, right? I'm wondering if, like, Twitch should become the place where we do recurring playthroughs like we're doing with Turbo Kid, and then YouTube can be the place for one-off, like, I'm going to play a game and then talk about its design for a little bit, and like that's kind of the only time we do that, and that gets uploaded as a special YouTube video. I don't know, I'm curious to hear what people think. Am I using a laptop or a PC? This is my PC, but I do have a laptop that I also work from. I don't do the stream from it, but I do have a laptop that I work in other areas of the house with. Okay. So, how do I debug this? Because we've already set all this up. Is that? Where are we doing our tweening for the width? Okay, let's separate these. So this is for the shape offset. This is for the VFX sprite, animated sprite. So that's all that section. And then we have the click flash, which kind of goes alongside that because we need to know. Well, do we? I don't think we do, actually. I think we can take all this stuff, because all this does not have to do with the VFX, right? And then this is our click flash stuff. This is defining the color. No, that's not right. That's not right. This is defining the color of the VFX. And click flash is its own thing. That's right. Hey, dude, you are losing that pacifier. There we go. There we go. Nice. All right. Who decided it would be a good idea to let me fall in the lava in the second layer in Hades? Cubus, no joke, that was a deep frustration for me, especially when you first get to, Asphodel, right? Which, of course, I'm American with an accent, and it sounds terrible with an American accent. Asphodel instead of Asphodel. Because when you first get into the level, they have that little staging area to start you off with, right? A little palate cleanser to get you in. And I would always run off of the boat into the lava. The fact that those boats don't have handrails was so frustrating, because there's a lot of perks that are like based on your percentage of health and stuff, and it would break me every single time. I hated that place. Okay. Did that too, yeah. Tom, swap hats. You got it, friend. What should we do next? I'm surveying my options. Oh, fun story. I still have never found that top hat that I bought. I bought a costume top hat like months ago. I wore it on stream like 3 times, and then it disappeared. We have cleaned the house top to bottom. I have no idea what happened to it. Not a clue. It's bizarre. Good to have you in, Tom. Welcome in. So, okay. Right, we're trying to find the tween right here. It's on the delete. Okay. So is this our problem? Is it that we are, overwriting the tween, maybe? No, because this tween is locally declared to click VFX. So this is not overwriting that one, but maybe there's some ordering stuff still. I don't know. Let's comment that all. Woo! I get to watch some Godot. Yes, you do. Absolutely. Oh, we need to add a pass. Welcome on in, Otter Makes Games. How are you doing today? How was your stream last night? Okay, yeah, we're not getting any jiggle. The jiggle has ceased to occur. Rather, it's not that it ceased to occur, it's just that it's straight up not occurring. So that's not our problem. It's not like the tweens are intersecting or anything. Hope you're doing well. We're doing very well, thanks. I'm so glad to hear that it was an awesome stream. That's awesome, Otter. So glad to see you. Thanks for jumping in. So I'm kind of curious why this isn't working. Because it worked. Well, I guess we don't actually know if it was working on the camera or not because the camera was set up weird. How quick is this one going? The cue free and everything. What if we change this to be a 10? Made worse by the fact that they're diagonal, so 2 buttons to aim walking onto them. Yes! Yeah, I know, you got it. Like, it's a completely different experience playing that game with a controller. Night and day difference playing with a controller instead of the keyboard and mouse. Okay, so I don't think that's our problem. So is the problem that we're not referencing the right thing? Are we referencing Sprite 2D somewhere else in here that I can like verify it's actually working? Right there in the delete. Okay, so that is working. Tween property, scale X. Setting it to 0 over the course of 0.1 seconds. Tween property, tween property. Sprite 2D, sprite 2D. Property name, property name. I mean, it is called offset, right? And let's do our thing that Connie taught us the other day. So it is just straight up offset, right? That's all it is. And then we're passing in a vector 2 of a random number. Like, I mean, what if I change it not to be random? Right? Also, hilarious, I was doing a random range between 0 and 0. Why was I doing that? Robotech, no worries. Good times. Thank you so much for saying hello. Have fun with your lurk. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I'm still not seeing any differences happening here if we get rid of the random range. Yeah, it's definitely not. Okay. What's the sprite you're trying to wiggle? This sprite 2D, right here. Which we are correctly tweening up here. And it looks like we're doing the same for, I mean, other than doing this dot set trans, but like, I don't know why that would break it by existing. Yeah, which it's not breaking it. And I mean, it's not that guy, right? Yeah. Fun to watch it just slowly wither away. So if we're calling this tween in the same way, why is it not working? We've confirmed offset is a parameter. I mean, I guess is it that we're doing offset instead of XY position, and you don't want to do any of those things with like a rigid body? Is that our problem? Can we turn a rigid body's like gravity off? Like specifically just this one? Because that might be another way to get what we're looking to accomplish. Godot for turn gravity off on one rigid body. Set the gravity scale for the rigid body to 0. Okay. Hey, you lost your mute button. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Set the gravity scale to 0. You can set the position of the sprite. I mean, that would just be the offset, right? And like, wouldn't that... maybe I'm overcomplicating it. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it. Oh, and you know what? This is the sprite. It's not the rigid body. We're doing this on the sprite. So if we did it on our rigid body, we could set that gravity scale to 0. Because, like, the more I'm doing this, the more I'm like, I don't know, do we really want... I don't think we want to jiggle on this. I think I want it to just kind of float off in a random cone, right? So what if just instead of referencing the sprite 2D, we just say self? Because this is attached to the root node here. Turning off gravity won't make it hold still since it has inertia. Oh, so we'd also have to, like, apply a force to it, right? Okay. Set trans on a null value. Okay. This is something new. Does this have offset? No, it doesn't have offset. Okay. So we need to set gravity to 0. So, gravity scale. And we're gonna put this right here. Oops. So we set gravity scale to 0. Doop. Do you need to be afloat? Oh, you're both double indented. Question is which effect you want. Yeah, I think that's what I want, is when you click on it, it just kind of floats up a little bit with a random variance on the X and dissolves. And we'll write a cool little dissolve shader for it, right? I think that is probably the better route than a wiggle. I think it would sell the theme a little bit better. We do have ads starting in just a second, by the way. But we will pause. Okay. So we're setting gravity scale to 0. And then we can't do offset. We need a way to, like, access its inertia, right? Constant forces? Ooh. That's kind of interesting. Gotta look at that. Anyways, ads are starting up in just a second. Bezos is knocking at my door. I'm gonna go dispel him and act the rites and rituals. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. I have set the force to 10 and 10. I don't think this is the solution. I just kind of want to see what it does. Yeah, all right. Okay. So maybe this is kind of the solution. Maybe we can do a tween on constant force and And that can be our rand I range between like -5 and 5. And then another rand I range between like 30 and 50. We're missing a parentheses. Where are we missing the parentheses? Right here, I guess? No. Darn it. I didn't fix it, but I broke it in an interesting way. That's right, Cabinet. Hey, we have 2 otters in the stream right now. Which isn't necessarily a lot, but it is weird that there are 2 at the same time. Okay. I'm breaking something very obvious here. What have I broken? Oh, because no, that's all right. Yeah, it should be right here, right? There should be another parentheses right there. No constructor of vector 2 matches that signature. For... Hold on. Oh, okay. That's why. That was our problem. Okay. I had the wrong parentheses on the wrong position. I don't know. You only need to get concerned when there are 3 or more otters. Okay, so once again, still not doing this. So like, I'm curious. Once again, I don't think this is going to be the solution to the problem, but I'm curious what happens if we put it with the thing that we know is actually triggering and functioning. And we extend the duration, so it's a little easier to tell if it's going on. Aha! Okay. So let's bring that back down and see if we're still getting the same effect. Yes. Yes, we are. Okay. Great. Lovely jubbly. So let's change this to be like 50 and 70. Yeah, it's still not enough to like launch it up. Let's take it to 100 and 150. 7,150. Gonna be rockets zooming right on up. Okay, we're gonna go a little wacky with it. Let's just add an extra digit, see where that takes us. Speaking of breaking things in interesting ways. Yeah, it looks like it's not. Huh. Okay, so I'm glad we did this 1,000, because clearly that is saying what we're doing there isn't really mattering. Like, can I just put 1 right there? And it's going to be the same sort of behavior we were seeing before. I mean, pretty much. You know, if we set it to like, you're going to accelerate at 5,000, why? Ah, but it's going down. Oh, okay, so these need to be negative, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Judy Fighter, hello! How you doing, friend? Good to see ya. Doing very well. Thank you for asking. Ooh, okay, there we go. There we go. Fly! Fly! Okay. So if we change this to be like a full second, and then we can drop this back down to like 0.3, which is the shrinking width, just to give this effect a little bit more time. Like, what happens even if we keep the negative 5,000, which is an outrageous number? Even if we keep it, what's that gonna do? Okay, I'm kind of liking that, actually. Kind of liking that. Okay, cool. I think that works. This feels weird to leave in like this, but... And I haven't even been evaluating like that XY, or the X scale. Let's look at the X. Yeah, it's basically not. What if we just kind of like enhance it a little bit? Did you change your mind on the screen shake? Yeah, we did change our mind on the screen shake. We went from screen shake, we went away from that because shaking like the whole UI and everything just felt really gross. And then we went to like, well, what if we shook the individual like symbols that are on the board? And I was trying to do that, and I thought, I don't know, shake doesn't really make a lot of sense. What if it was just kind of like floating up, like it had been zapped by electricity and we're kind of evaporating in the wind, and that felt a lot more thematic. So that's kind of what we're going with right now. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of... I mean, what if we set it to another 5,000, right? Like, negative 5,000 to 5,000. Okay, so it is taking effect. Let's tone it down by half. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. And then this tweening up here, we're gonna need to replace with a shader. So we can get rid of this to-do. Hurrah, Kalu Kalay. Well done, everyone. And then we'll add in another to-do here. Replace with dissolving shader. And that is in my coursework. I just need to get to it. Shader to kind of make it look like it's, you know, disintegrating. Okay. Rad. All right. Hey, I think we can change this instead of simple shake. It is now float. And I think we can successfully say that we have accomplished that. Hooray! Let's get those check marks in the chat. Hooray! Oh my goodness. Okay, that's what everybody wants in their earbuds. Okay. So we've done that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next thing. Tom, thank you so much. What's the next level of polish? So we're going to turn off camera shake and we're going to go to camera bump. And this is, the camera is fidgeting every single time. And I don't think, I don't know, the only place that I can think of that feels like somewhat of an appropriate place to use this in would be on when a power gets executed, is to kind of like maybe shake the screen or do something, because the current plan for when a power gets activated is literally just like do an animation, like slide him over in a punch animation and then have this guy go into a hurt animation. And like that's it. Really low effort. But maybe there should be some sort of screen shake or something on there. The screen shake seemed so ugly when we were doing it on the clip, you know? It was so gross. I don't know. Here's what people's thoughts would be. When you successfully do a power, do we do any VFX there? When you execute on that, right? Other than the animation. Kind of feels like probably, right? Like, especially if we're doing like a hit over a certain damage threshold or something, right? Really make that feel messy to the player. I'm kind of curious how Slay the Spire handles their screen shake. I'm gonna throw a video up here and to see if we can kind of figure out how are they doing it, right? Because they do it in a way that does not feel intrusive, which is compelling. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so this is a 5-minute speed run. They are for sure going to be doing like really big damage hits, right?
See what the options were. So the average run on Slay the Spire takes like, if you win, it's approaches an hour.
They're not doing the UI. It's all in the animations.
Hi, I'm Anthony Giovanetti.
And I'm Casey Yano.
We'll get their commentary, sure.
Developers.
Yep. And we are doing
Lucky number 7. 7 days.
I'm skipping to the boss fight because that's where there's going to be the biggest hits, and that's when they do the screen shake, I believe, is when your damage gets into that scythe icon territory.
You can doesn't really give you any kind of advantage, and so like we have what's it called? A fast mode option. It's very interesting.
Worked for my boss for 14 years, and he still hasn't let me fight him.
Crazy. Yeah,
Cabinet, I'm sorry, you got to get a new boss. If your boss isn't willing to bare knuckle box you, they just don't care about you, you know?
If you win, it's approaches an hour.
Okay. Slay the Spire screen shake. Okay, so this guy just has screen shake turned off. Perfect. Thanks. No, I don't. I need someone that's gonna be doing big hits. Sure. Let's check this one out.
Ascension 25. The last time we've been blessed, chat. Don't want to make focus. Next turn, that's a look at.
Oh, and he debuffs him.
All right, now we should hold out though. This was ordered, but we should hold out because we.
Okay, you know what? I think there's really only one way we're gonna figure this out because I'm realizing most streamers are probably going to have screen shake turned off. Which I think says something about this. But I think they are also disproportionately representative of a certain population. Once again, I have to imagine that if screen shake exists so prolifically across so many games, it's because the market likes it. I don't think this is game developers just being stubborn, right? So I'm going to launch Downfall, which is a Slay the Spire, an official Slay the Spire mod. And we're going to try and get some big hits going to try and see, like, how are they dealing with this problem? Are they shaking the UI? Are they not shaking the UI? Is it just in animations? I'm pretty sure it's not, but I want to check it out. There we go. And go. Good. Okay. Oh, and let's turn sound. I almost always have my sound turned off. Weirdly enough, this is my weird thing. I don't deal with... Wow, that's really loud. I don't deal with screen shaker or anything turned off, but I almost always turn sound off. Especially when I'm on PC. Okay, we have screen shake turned on. Good. Okay. Play. Standard. Downfall. And we're going to pick... I believe they added in some new villains since I played last, which is cool. Let's go for the champ, because he's going to be all about, like, really big... I mean, even right here. UI is shaking on this. Right? And it's actually shaking so much, we're seeing black bars on the bottom of the screen. See that? That's a lot of shaking. Play a game without game sounds, no music for sure. Yeah, like, I don't... Like, when I'm on the Steam Deck and I'm all alone, like, maybe. But usually when I'm at my computer and I'm playing a game, it's because I'm, like... I don't know, it's usually going on in the background of something else, right? And I don't want that sound to be interrupting the other thing. Okay. Even here, we're getting screen shake on the UI. So this is interesting. Sure, let's get a random common relic. Whenever you climb a floor, gain 12 souls. No longer works when you spend any soul. Yeah, so once again, we've talked a lot about anchoring and everything, anchoring runs in roguelikes. This is not a build-defining thing. This is not something I can build into if I want to. It's kind of just, like, nice, right? Okay. So we can upgrade, finisher. After playing a finisher, exit your stance and trigger its finisher bonus. Sure. What's the finisher bonus? Okay, great. And let's go into a fight. Because that's the whole thing we're trying to figure out here is, when they do screen shake, does it affect everything? I think so, right? Yeah. And we get black bars behind everything. I never, ever noticed the black bars. That is fascinating. Yeah, you can see them up here. I never once noticed those. Fascinating. Okay. Okay. Did you just ruin this game? No, I didn't ruin it all. You know, we had, Crispy Sense, when I was streaming with him, he asked, like, does designing games ruin your ability to enjoy them? And for a lot of people, it does. Not for me, though. For me, I get to appreciate the little choices that go, like something like that. Like, I never noticed that before. And now I can appreciate when that is executed on well and when people maybe do something different. I can appreciate the craft of it. I think that's super rad. I'd never be able to unsee the black bars. Yeah, and, like, I may not unsee it either, but, like, it's still super rad, right? Like, it's still a really cool thing to have noticed. So it's about the craftsmanship of game making for me. Okay. So. Do we go back and just put all of this back in? But it won't be on click. It's going to be on power. Let's go to Signal Bus. Yeah, and that needs power name. So we're going to change this to power name just so I'm staying consistent with names, even though I don't use it. I'm just going to have it there. Oh, dear. Okay. Let's fix our camera. There we go. Let's try it again. Okay. Red, red, blue. Red, red, blue. I kind of like that. It feels a little bit jarring to me still. Like, I almost wonder if going bigger with it would make it feel more natural. I don't know. What's weird is that it seems like it's consistently shifting up and to the left. Oh, right, because we're doing 0 to positive and right. Okay, yeah. So the way I want this to feel is like we are pushing the player forward, right? Like the player is rushing forward to attack the bad guy. There is some sort of momentum force being applied there. So, let's modify these values, I think. And I think that that's going to be enough. So if we change it to be like 3 to 5, positive X, and then 0, and not 0, -1 to -3. So we're always moving up a little bit, so always up and to the right into the enemy. By the way, thank you so much for the YouTube subscriptions. We're at 993, 7 away. Am I going the wrong direction here? I mean, we're definitely going this way. Which is, I guess the camera is moving over here, which moves the villain closer towards the center. And so really, if we want, am I just weird? Am I just going crazy? Okay. I think that's my problem, is because the villain was getting closer to us, not us getting closer to the villain, so to speak, in that camera shake. I do think it's also a little bit heavy. And we're also moving the wrong direction in Y, which is weird because it shouldn't be. Like this is all kind of flipping my brain around a little bit. There we go. And I kind of like the floating up because it randomly kind of introduces a bit of chaos onto the board, and I think that's kind of cool. Okay. What happens if we set this down to like 1 in terms of duration? Because it's still feeling pretty jarring. It's not quite feeling as smooth as Slay the Spires was. Okay, I think this is a good spot for now. You know, we're not going to get it like 100% perfect on this first pass, but I think this is a big improvement. I am liking that screen shake. We are kind of effectively doing a screen bump with the screen shake. So if we take just shake, like, yeah, that feels so much smoother. Huh. So what is it about it that's feeling smoother to me? What is feeling smoother about this? Because that compared to this feels very different. I don't know. Let's grab our tween cheat sheet here. When we're doing bounce, maybe we should try elastic. Let's try that. I do like the screen shake being on the power, though. No. That felt way worse. That felt dramatically worse. But yeah, this spring? Maybe we should try spring? It just feels like we're not actually tweening. It just feels like we're skipping from pixel to pixel, and there's no, like, interpolation. And that's feeling a little bit better. I'm kind of liking that. Man, I don't know. Maybe that's a mystery for another day. I do think we're kind of effectively doing this. Just because our screen shake is kind of, like, heavy enough. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we needed the screen shake to only be, like, 1 pixel in a jiggle for a very small amount of time. And then we also do the bump. I don't know. I think we move on from this mystery for a little bit, and we do have ads starting up in just a second. So we'll go into those, and we will be right back. Thanks so much for hanging out. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Okay, welcome back in. Let's keep on doing some polish, shall we? I think we're making a tremendous amount of difference on this. I mean, like, looking at where we were at before, with just the simple squish and the sound effect, like, oh dear. Right, okay. I think with the particles and everything, and the screen shake, not particles, there's no particles on this, but the hand-drawn VFX, the coloring, the white flash, I think it's all looking way better than it used to. Oh, it's looking great. If by writing a shader you mean copy-paste from a tutorial water shader that I'm planning on replacing because it looks bad and adds some weird artifacts to other objects. Oh shoot, Tom. Is this for Brooklyn Bridge Simulator? Okay. Right on. Okay. It was. Okay, very cool. Very cool. So we've done the camera. Oh, let's do zoom. Ooh. What does this do? When player lands or dashes. I think we accidentally turned it off. Yeah, let's do that on power. Yeah, that feels good. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Where's our camera 2D? Okay, so not only do we want this screen check, we also want a very slight zoom in. So, position smoothing. Ooh, is that gonna fix the thing that I was complaining about? I don't know what it does, so probably not. Maybe a little bit? Okay. Rotation smoothing. Zoom! Oh, it's right there. So we can do this, and instead of offset, we'll do zoom, and that is looking for a vector 2. And then let's just kind of like play around with these values a little bit. We definitely don't want 2. 1.1? Boy, we may not even want that much. What about 0.05? Yeah, I think that's probably good. Let's try that out. So zoom will go to, and we're not going to do a random range. Well, 1.02 to 1.05. Because having even just a little bit of variance, even if it's not super perceptible, is good to help the eye and the brain not feel like it's so repetitive. Even if like they never conscientiously pick up on it, it will help. So my question now, though, is we want this shake and we want the zoom to happen in parallel. And I know there's a way to do this. Change using parallel. Dot parallel. Just an empty method. Okay, great. So instead of this, we do dot parallel dot and parallel dot. And then what I'm curious about is we have these two set to be parallel. Are they going to run in tandem and then run this? So like 1 and 2 happen at the same time and then 3 goes? Can't do that with my fingers. Or will just all of them run at the same time now? I hope it's the former, of course. Red, red, blue. Red, blue, blue, red. I'm going to comment out the offset just to see if the zoom is actually happening and if I'm just not picking it up. All right, zoom is not applying. Referencing it correctly. So why is that not zooming in? It's still on camera 2D. That's still the same thing that we're looking for. Zoom takes a vec 2, I'm assuming, because we have an X and a Y, right? I mean, let's just extend this out really far. And then let's also get rid of this one, where we're resetting it. I'm wondering if that's our problem. Although that should only be resetting the offset. Oh, I forgot about that little screen flash we put in. That actually is kind of nice. No, it's not happening at all. Okay. So why not? We had this problem before. And then I moved it, and then all of a sudden it started working, and I don't know why. Is it the parallel? Are we breaking it with parallel? Am I not using parallel correctly? I don't feel like we're zooming in at all. Let's just, once again, go extreme with the values just to see if it's actually doing anything. Ah! So it is doing something. But it's just like it's imperceptible. So what if we change it to 0.2 and 0.5? Okay. This is very strange because if I go over here and say like 1.2, like that's a pretty clear heavy zoom in, right? But it seems like we're not applying the same thing. Like what if we do it over 1 second instead of 10 seconds? Is it just that it's taking too long to tween? No. It's like it's not even doing anything. But we know that it is, because if I set this once again to like 100, then we're going to see some pretty stark movement. I'm doing this mostly to convince myself. Blue, blue, red, yeah. Okay. And I do think we're gonna probably gonna want to change this to bounce. And I'm gonna actually add parallel back in, just to see if it's still gonna do the thing even with parallel in it. Was the problem parallel, or was it just the size of the effect? Yeah, it's the magnitude of the effect. If we get rid of this, if we turn our screen shake back on, okay, still working. Okay, it was the magnitude of the effect. So what happens if we change it to just like 2? Because 2 should be kind of like outrageously large according to our scene view. Yeah, it's pretty outrageously large. Also, does not seem to be happening in parallel. So I'm probably using this wrong. Well, no, there's their example. Once again, I'm glad that there's an example, but... all tweeners in the example will run at the same time. Oh, does something have to... okay. So do we have to like get rid of parallel on that one? And so this one runs and this one runs in parallel with that one, and that's why it was kind of freaking out, because there wasn't an initial one to set it. That'd be my guess. Come on. All right. shrink that duration once again and get things to the same amount. Okay. So maybe it was, maybe that was the problem of, I had parallels set incorrectly. Maybe that was my problem. Boy, it really feels like we're not doing any zoom in anymore. 1.8 to 1.9. But then if I change it all the way to 2 and 2, like, we get this like, it seems like it's just not executing anything smaller than 2. Which is very strange. Fight UI, camera 2D. Let's look at our zoom. Okay. And we'll reset everything back to like a small 1.2 to 1. I did see the zoom changing in our camera 2D. Fight UI, camera 2D. Taking a look at the zoom. And red, blue. Red, blue. Yeah, it's straight up not doing anything with the zoom. Unless we are throwing it a value of 2 or greater. Let's try it again. Fight UI, camera 2D. Red, blue. Yeah. So that's weird. Why will you not let me set the zoom to be anything less than 2? Because, like, even at a 1.2, that's still, like, an outrageous zoom. Right? And a 1.5 is like, ooh. Process callback. I don't think that would matter. Okay. Time for Google. Camera 2D zoom can't be set less than 2. Camera limits are a very basic implementation of the idea of not letting the camera move too far. This doesn't really work when you have the ability to zoom. If you just clamp the camera position to be within the limits after you zoom in your own code, no, that's not really what I'm looking for. Instead of running the zoom function and checking every frame if the button is pressed, check when the button is pressed and then call the zoom function. Well, sure. But no one's talking about the actual zoom amounts. Okay. So we have a problem. We have a problem. Which is we cannot set this random range, the zoom amounts, to be less than 2. Like, I'm going to set it to 1.99. So there should be no perceptible difference between this and 2.0. Is that going to do anything for us? Okay, it did. So what if it's a random range Ah, you big dummy. Do you know what the problem was? Because I just figured it out. This was the code we had before. Okay. Can you spot the problem? Can you see the problem? Yes, Cubus. Yep, we were reducing it to an integer, so everything that was less than a whole integer, or everything was getting rounded to the whole integer. So, there you go. That was the problem. I'm a big old dum-dum. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one to learn from. All right, that should fix it. You're going insane with all the saving and loading stuff. I heard that saving and loading was super easy in Godot, Alex. Okay, you. I think... No, that's right. Right? Yeah. Vector 2 getting closed right there. This is getting closed right there. Yeah. Oh, also our... Wait. Okay. I'm going crazy. There we go. This is the line that we're supposed to be looking at. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then we need to reset it. Yeah. And then we'll do zoom. And let's just replace all of these with 0. Goodness. And then replace these with 1. Okay. Let's try that. I use default C# file and directory classes. Don't use C#, use GD script. What's wrong with y'all? You're trying to over-optimize. Now I have to refactor it all to use Godot's dir access file access. Now I have to convert from relative to absolute paths for my XML parsers. Oh, man, Alex, I'm sorry. That sounds like a lot of work when you're on a tight deadline. Okay, this is too much zoom. We need to back up a good amount. So we're going to go halvesies on it. Okay. Blue, blue, red, 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 blue, red, red, blue, 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 red. Okay, this is feeling reasonable. That's feeling reasonable. Okay, there's that. Oh, we're through the first section. Go team! Hold on, we got to give ourselves some credit here. Screen shake on power and screen zoom on power. Yeah. Okay, let's get some more checky checks in the chat. Bloop, 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 bloop. So is it just that they're breaking in like HTML export? Is that the problem? What kind of export are you doing? Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at the next thing. Let's take a look at the next thing. Cubus, you can just remove the C# part of that. Just HTML is rough. HTML sucks. It's not a web build? Okay. Distort enemies like a jelly ball. A jelly ball in reactions of external when being hit by bullets. Okay. So we've got squash and stretch, and then the hero can do it on jumps, lands, dashes, or shoots. Oh. Okay. Okay. I guess we could build that in right now. on power usage, on turn turn taking, and on damage receiving. Let's see that. So let's go to our actor. Doop. Doop. There we go. Extends actor. And then we're going to just close all the other tabs, tidy things up a little bit, make Jack happy. You can't export C# to web yet, at least in Godot 4. Really? Interesting. When you export the project, all the files get combined into the pack file, so you can't access the files you wanted because they're not there when exported. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So we need to have a funk of squish, squash. And the most important part of this is a comment that says Dunny in it. Okay. And if you know that reference, you are a parent. Okay. So what we need to do is make a new tween, right? So a var tween. And then is it like as tween? Is that how we do this? How do we do this? I'm already forgetting the syntax here. As equals get tree dot. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand that syntax at all, but that's okay. We'll figure it out another time. Rubik's Cube, hello, welcome in. So good to see you. How are you today? Okay. I'm doing very well. Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm glad you're doing all right. We're working on just layers and layers of polish. So we've been going through a lot and, you know, trying to make it a little bit juicy. I've never done anything at this stage of game development, so it's been kind of fun working through that and figuring it out. And I'm probably going a little too intense on the zoom still on that, but it is fun kind of layering all these effects on top of each other and watching it kind of get better. So it's pretty exciting. We've been doing all of these different things. And in fact, next up, we have, what are we doing now? Squish Squash, actors on events, powers, and damage. And we're just going to have that set up. We're not going to make it look particularly fantastic. We're just going to put it into the game because a lot of it is going to get sold through the animation of the characters. And we'll be doing that later. Went to work on your game last night. Was only playing Magic the Gathering for 30 minutes. Didn't work on my game at all and played Magic the Gathering for 4 hours instead. Oh my goodness. I understand you, Rubik's Cube. I totally get how that can happen. Yeah. It's a real thing. And you know what? As long as it's a hobby and like you're just doing it for fun, totally fine. Absolutely cool. As long as you're still feeling fulfilled and like you're ending the day happy and you're waking up in the morning good, right on. Fun and Magic the Gathering? Okay. So we need to tween tween set. Jeez, what is the dang syntax? Not set, just tween property. Okay. Tween property. Haven't played Magic the Gathering for 15 years. Really want to work on game dev more, sure. I hear ya. Just one more match. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I got into Magic the Gathering when my brothers were really into it very young. I remember on a vacation as little kids going to a random store and buying a booster pack. And I think we might have had a Black Lotus at some point. I don't remember for sure, but we had a pretty large Magic collection between the three of us. And of course, back then, who knew what the Black Lotus was going to become? But Yeah, that was kind of the timeline. Early 90s. We were very into that. And my brother, at least one of them, is still very into Magic the Gathering. He's doing like cube decks and everything, all sorts of stuff. So finishing your dailies, then I opened like 40 plus packs of cards. Well, then you got to figure out what to do with you got these cool new cards you can make a new deck with. Cabinet Otter, I desperately want that to actually be true and not just a silly joke. Please tell me that's a real thing. Tween property, and we're going to modify self. And we're going to modify... what? This. Animated sprite 2D. But it's gonna be, cause like, this is in its own scene, and then the villain is also in their own scene. Villain parent. Yeah, that's a bummer. How do I fix that? Oh, we have that starting in just a second. We'll be right back. It's 100% a thing that makes me very happy. Thank you for telling me, Cabinet Otter. Time to throw you off. I introduced the movie Gargoyles to my family last night. Woo! How did that go? I want to run a rat deck just to be like, wow, I lost a rat skull in my infestation deck. Oh my gosh, amazing. All of the rats had death touch because of an artifact thing. It was nuts. That's awesome. Oh, that's super cool. Okay. Right, ads. We're going to do ads. We'll be right back. Okay. Welcome back in. Welcome back in. Let's jump back. It's weird. My lighting seems a little bit off. really want to finish working on my game because if I'm lucky, actually happens, I really want to focus on my dream game, but I need to make enough money that I can focus on it full time. Okay. Gargoyles aged like wine. Wonderful 2D fighter. Man, those old 90s cartoons were so good. It very much had like that same vibe as like the Batman animated show. Ah, so good. And like, I'm not going to say they're better than modern stuff. They were just different, right? You don't get shows like that nowadays, really. But like, I still was meaningfully impacted by like Adventure Time and Gravity Falls. Like, I love modern stuff as well, but they were definitely different. Can't get lucky if I don't produce. Yeah. One way that people kind of phrase luck that I think communicates a good idea, though I wouldn't necessarily say this is the definition of luck, is when like preparation meets opportunity, right? And so having a large volume of stuff that you've worked on and grown from is super important. But yeah, so many mechanics that I need to actually know what I'm kind of doing before even starting it. Way too much stuff to learn at once. I understand that, Rubik's, yeah. How was that flagged by Automod? Because you did LMAO. Automod. Goodness. I'm gonna say they're better the older you get. What, the old 90s cartoons? Or yeah, Rubik's, I apologize. I'm gonna try and keep a tight eye on that because that's just ridiculous. There's no need for Automod to catch that. So okay. Should we do this thing? Should we keep working? Let's keep working. Where are we at? What are we trying to do? All right, we're doing Squish Squash, and we're trying to call the player sprite. Which is rough because the actor... Where's the actor tied to? Who owns the actor? Actor. Who owns you? Fight scene? No. Oh, because you're in here too. But we have these extending it, right? So it should be fine. We shouldn't need this. We should be able to just reference, because if we go to player, we should just be able to reference animated sprite 2D. Because it will extend from actor. We'll see. Yeah, Cubus. Looney Tunes, Golden Age back. Popeye cartoons in general are better the further back you go before people started shortcutting before Toon Boom. I'm gonna disagree. 2D Fighter, typing with two babies. I'm gonna disagree. I mean, there are definitely classic things, but like, I would watch Gravity Falls over old Looney Tunes any day of the week. Like, not even close. But I would totally watch Batman over, like, the 90s animated Batman over the stupid freaking thing that a lot of people really loved, which I couldn't stand, of Cartoon Network Princess Fairy Magic show. What was it? Not the Fairly Odd Parents or anything. It was this show of this gal that was like from an alternate dimension and got kicked out from her dimension. She was a princess. Yes. This one. I found it. Star versus the Forces of Evil. I could not stand more than one episode of Star versus the Forces of Evil. I really wanted to like it. I really, really wanted to like it. I could not stand Star, like, at all. She bugged the crap out of me. That's the plot of Hades. Doug, Rocco's Modern Life, not a cartoon. Legends of the Hidden Temple Guts. Man, these are a lot. I mean, I'm familiar with Doug. What's Rocco's Modern Life? Oh, this one. Okay, yeah. I remember seeing depictions of it, but that was one I never got to partake in. Legends of the Hidden Temple. Oh, the old like Gladiator for kids. Yeah. And then Guts. What was Guts? What, the anime? Berserk? Nickelodeon Guts. Action sports competition series. Okay, no. Something else. Another Gladiator for kids sort of thing. You're talking about the show, I'm talking about the animation. Okay, 2D Fighter. Well, I can't really speak very authoritatively about animation quality. It wouldn't surprise me if they maybe got some more investment back in the day than they do now. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But I would also suspect that our techniques have gotten much better over now. So I'd be curious. I'd be really curious to hear a full analysis of that. Blue Barracudas for life. Oh my gosh, Ren and Stimpy. Oh geez. Cat Dog, Hey Arnold, Danny Phantom, Angry Beavers, Totally Spice. Wow. Yeah, I crossed over very briefly with like the Hey Arnold space and Cat Dog, but once again, like I didn't have cable growing up, so like I didn't really have an opportunity to watch almost any of these unless they were on public channels. You know, kids these days, man, like the Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus wars and everything pale in comparison to trying to get your parents to pay for cable when you were young. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna modify, I guess, scale, right? We just want to, like, squish, squash. That's all scale. Or skew? No, skew's a radial thing. We don't really want skew. So we want to, like, set... We need to decouple these, and so, like, we need X to be, like, 1.2... and then Y to get to be like 1.5, right? I mean, that's obviously super dramatic, but that's the idea, is bromp bromp. So, we're going to look at scale. And then our value is going to be a vector 2. It's going to be a rand f range from... 1.05 to 1.2. And then it'll be like, because that's going to be our X amount, and then our Y amount needs to be bigger. So we'll start it off at the highest value of the X, 1.2 to 1.3. Over, what, a half a second? No constructor matches that signature. There we go. Fix our parentheses. Too many arguments for tween property call. Right, because we're calling it on self. We don't want that to start off with. Okay. Let's just see. Wait, hold on. We got squish squash. We need to do a signal setup here. Signal setup, and then func signal setup, and then we're going to do signal bus dot power dot connect Squish squash. And then this needs to accept a power name. It's dumb. Although maybe it would be kind of cool to have like the name of the power flash on the screen in like big comic book letters. I don't know. Something to think about. I've been watching the Batman animated series for the first time recently, and it's shockingly good. It's very good, Cabinet Otter. Yes, it's very good. Our techniques have gotten cheap and lazy. I mean, once again, I'm not an animator, so I can't really speak authoritatively on it, but that kind of sounds like saying we've introduced machinery, we've gotten lazy. Like, I'm not totally sure I buy it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I kind of need some more convincing. It's another reason why I put so much detail in my work. I don't ever want the old-fashioned animation to die. I loved Capcom because that's what they did, and they knock Marvel out of the park. Okay. Could be, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not an animator, so I can't really speak to that necessarily. Unfortunately, I wish I could. I'd like to be better at that. I'm not seeing our player squish squash. So are we calling it? Are we hitting that line of code? Exactly what you just said? Okay. So we are hitting it. We're using rand F ranges and not rand I ranges. So my guess is that we're not referencing the correct sprite. That's my guess. Let's just throw the values up really high just to see, though. And then we can go to remote, fight, player, animated sprite 2D. We have our scale right here. Play. Yeah, no, it's not changing at all. Okay. So question, boss man, I feel like I watch an endless amount of tutorials, and when I go to implement the stuff myself, I seem to not do things correct. I understand what the code does, I understand why it's laid out the way it is, but somehow my execution fails. Is there anything you can recommend so I can learn and develop instead of get so lost and down about game dev? As a caveat, I followed a tutorial to create a game, everything worked, I went to do a similar game on my own, and I can't pull off the same commands. So it's not like I'm just watching and haven't done anything. Rubik's Cube, I feel like I can empathize with you on this. I can't necessarily say what's going to fix it for you, but my experience going through something that sounds very similar is that there's a disconnect when I'm watching the tutorial and I understand what they're saying and I'm executing on it. There's a disconnect between that and doing it myself because the tutorial is doing the thinking for me. And so I understand what the tutorial says and it makes sense, but I'm not having to generate the thoughts that lead to it making sense, right? So the way it tends to go for me is I will go through some sort of class or tutorial, and I think, yeah, this all makes sense, and then I try and do it on my own, and I get totally lost. And then I have to open up my tutorial project and see, wait, shoot, how did I do this before? And then I read the code, oh, that's right. Now I remember all of that context that I couldn't summon up on demand. And then I rewrite it and move it on. Some stuff that has helped me do that better is whenever I am doing a tutorial, that I play with it a bunch. So, like on the shader tutorial class that I'm in, whenever we do a new step in the shader, I don't just do what the professor says. I then try and take it and like modify it and stretch it and see what the limits are. And that tends to help cement my understanding a little bit more. But really at the end of the day, if you're anything like me, it's because watching something and understanding it is different from needing to summon up those first couple of steps of logic. And that's a big deal. And you got to figure out how to bridge that gap. That just means I need to up my game in workshops, but be warned, once you look at animation this way, you'll never be able to stop. It will bring a huge appreciation to the people behind the art. That's awesome, 2D Fighter. Alex, I never do tutorial projects. What I do is get an idea of what I want to do and then look up the mechanics. If I can't implement it myself, I Google for a tutorial. And I think that's fair, Alex. I mean, I think everyone kind of learns in different ways, and there's a different amount of comfort with trying to just set off and do something, right? Like, Alex, you're a very accomplished programmer, right? Even though you're not graduated yet, you've clearly coded quite a lot, and you're very comfortable with that. Whereas someone who's just starting out, they don't necessarily have that same starting off point in order to build on. And so going to a tutorial is something a little bit safer, and that's not just going to lead to them smashing their head in the brick wall, because they have no anchor, right? They have no foundation to build off of. That's my opinion, at least. For me, with code learning, if I can't figure out why it isn't working with my rubber ducky pal and stepping through the code, I plug the snippet that isn't working into Gemini and ask it to troubleshoot it for me. I have heard a lot of developers using AI to support debugging. AI is really good at breaking your mental, we talked just yesterday about how artists go to critiques and flip their art around and zoom in and zoom out and everything in order to break what their brain can't see anymore, because they have cognitively made shortcuts that are skipping over things that shouldn't be skipped over. And AI, I think, does a similar thing for people. The only thing I did on my own was change the color of the background. Yeah, so Cubix, I mean, like I said, for me, it helps to really play with it and push it and try and make it do different things. And, if we're doing a shader about, making a flash, a white flash, when you click it, can I then, if I'm feeling somewhat uncomfortable with that, I will spend a lot of time to say, okay, instead of making it happen on click, maybe I'll try and do it on keyboard, or maybe instead of flashing white, I'll try and flash it to a random color and see what happens. All that sort of stuff. So, really trying to stretch the limits of my understanding while I'm in a somewhat safe space is good. And then also, frankly, being okay with not understanding. And that's a tricky one, because a lot of the times I will get to a point where I'm like, listen, I get that this makes sense, but I don't understand it, and I don't have the time to figure out why, because if I try to take the time to figure out why right now, I'm going to go down 30 rabbit holes, and it's going to take forever. So instead, what I've learned to do for me, once again, just for me, is say, this is good enough. I know what I need to do in order to execute on something, even if I don't know why. So I'm just going to copy and paste it in, and then I'm trusting that as I continue to expand my knowledge base and I get out further and further, that I will then find more pieces of information that will come back and plug into the original quandary, right? Because learning is not linear. It's this big wibbly wobbly mess, and the more you learn about something, the easier it becomes to learn about it. So, I don't know, that's just another thing that helps me, is recognizing when is it okay to just not. I speak from my own experience, but I do have a solid foundation in coding, so that helps out. Yeah, Alex, absolutely, absolutely. I tried to learn coding for 6 years off and on, but never implemented. So now I'm jumping into game dev, but that's not what I tried to learn for the previous years, so I get kind of bummed that I'm looking at tutorials because I know nothing. You're the Autobot friend? Yeah, for real. You don't need to apologize. I need to apologize. I need to fine-tune those rules better. Plum Knight was an AI concept I fed. No picture, all text. Yeah, there you go. AI is good to fill small knowledge gaps. Yep, absolutely. As soon as the gap becomes large enough that you don't understand the answer, even after some questions, it starts to lose a benefit. I mean, yeah. Small, discrete things AI is very good at. Absolutely. Go down rabbit holes and it's like, that's all I do. Yeah. The best thing is repetition. Write it, rewrite it, improve it, keep doing it. It may take a lot of time, but eventually it all becomes second nature. I think that's probably fair. I think especially when you're really green, like me, rewriting it is maybe a little bit tough because you don't know, what are the alternative ways to rewrite it? And you don't... But I mean, it is good, especially if it's okay, I understand you're doing it this way, but the way I have previously done it is this way. And then try and build both implementations and kind of see, does the system fall apart at some point? Or is it just a different way to do the same thing? Because there's a lot of those in programming. AI helped get the idea out. Yeah. Now I'm hungry for Jello. So working with fortunes, I got a code written out. I used ChatGPT to ask take this code, rewrite it to be better, and I learned a different way to accomplish what I wanted. Oh, interesting. I even knew what I had to fix that ChatGPT just didn't do right. There you go. That's great. That's a really good sign. Take note of that and celebrate your accomplishments is the other really big thing. Like, you get bummed because you feel like you've taken steps back, but you really need to take the deliberate time and attention to celebrate your successes. Like, I do the checkmark thing because it's a bit of a meme, but also it's deeply important. Like, psychologically speaking, this is so important to be able to mark progress and say, yeah, this is where we're going. I pick out the parts I need from tutorials. It's hard to really find a good tutorial you can find start to end that fits your vision, which teaches well. That's fair, Cubus. Which is why, like, especially when you're starting out, you really want to not have a super defined vision that's really complex. Because what you're doing there is, like, really advanced stuff, right? Like, being able to pick out parts you need that's advanced level stuff. You can't really do that until you have your foundations. And if you don't have your foundations, then you're kind of just going to be doing whatever the tutorial does. Be careful with ChatGPT code. I use it a lot, but its replies could be hit or miss. Yes, 100%. 100%. Okay. Rad. That's why the dream game is a horrible starter project. Absolutely, Cubus. You are never as bad at game dev as you are right now. This is the worst you're ever going to be at game dev, is right now. Do you really want... if you really want to try to build your dream game when you have no clue what you're doing? No. No, you don't. Even a horrible mid-level project. Yes, absolutely. I only use AI for troubleshooting as a last resort whenever I can't figure out what's wrong. Yeah. 80% of the time it's a double word I've left in it just gets or like an extra dot or something. Or as my programming professor would say, that damn semicolon. Yeah, there you go, Rubik's. Absolutely. Hey, Polygon Pilgrimage. Good to see you. How you doing? We'll go double beanie. Oh my goodness. We've been streaming for a long time. I didn't even notice. We've been going for a while. I am hoping next week, by the way, to kind of expand the hours out a little bit. We'll see how it goes. It will be the same core hours, but some days I'm hoping to start streaming earlier. We'll see how that works out, though. That's the hope. I'm saying it publicly to kind of commit myself. From vision to code knowledge to game design, all suck. I'm getting distracted from my task. Yeah, me too. You can totally make a series of small games that each explore a specific part of your vision. Absolutely, yes. And that's a great way to do it. It's like, I want a dice rolling, dungeon crawling, open world survival crafting experience. Cool. Okay, build a dice rolling game. Just build something where you roll dice. That's all you gotta do. And then do a dungeon game. And then do an open world toy. Not even a game, just a toy. And then build a game where you're crafting things. You're not even gathering things necessarily. You're just crafting things, right? And yeah, I like that a lot. It's another way that game jams are really helpful. Okay. Cool. Hey. Guys. Everyone. Ladies, gentlemen, lassies, lasses, looses, and gelatinous cubes. We've been kind of going for a while. I think we're gonna bounce out into another stream because I didn't even realize where we were at. Where should we raid into here? Let's go to Cricket. I haven't raided into Cricket in ages, and he's been building his Norse Punk game, and it's a great time. Prepping for stream, so I'll be lurking, but wanted to stop by and support. Thanks so much, Polygon. I appreciate that. Thank you. I hope your stream goes very well today. Okay. You're all fantastic. Rubik's, thanks for getting a conversation started. Absolutely. With that being said, for any of you who are new to the channel, we are a charitable enterprise devoted to helping people enter the game industry. We're building a game right now ourselves. We're prepping for our July game jam coming out. And if that sounds like a good time to you, I invite you to like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And I hope you're all doing very well. That being said, we'll talk to you next time.